All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tuesday Notary Titans for Tuesday, January 24th, 2023. It is the end of the month, and my name is Bill Soroka. I'm the author of Sign and Thrive, How to Make Six Figures as a Mobile Notary and Loan Signing Agent, and I'm founder of the Notary Business Builder, an advanced notary community. I'm here with my very lovely co-host today, Laura Biewer. Hi, Laura. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. If you don't happen to know me, I'm Laura Biewer. I'm founder of Coach Me Laura, and my job is to increase the confidence and competence level of business owners, regardless of what that specialty happens to be, and co-founder of Notary Business Builder. And I'm sure we're going to hear more about that later. And I'm going to pass it on to Jen.
Yeah, we got a special co-host here today with Jen Neitzel. Hey, Jen, you want to introduce yourself?
Hey, I am Jen Neitzel. I am the creator of Signing Agent Marketing, and I am the other co-founder of the Notary Business Builder, and I am thrilled to be on today and see all these faces. Hi, everybody.
All right, so we've got an awesome hosting situation for you today. That's the best way I could phrase that, unfortunately. We've got some great opportunity for you to get your questions answered. Now, you know how TNT works, most of you anyway. It works a lot more efficiently if we use the raise hand feature in Zoom. When we call you up, please tell us what state you're in, and then ask your question directly and maybe succinctly as well. And then you can mute out, and we'll volley the questions to Jen, Laura, or myself to help you get the best answer possible. We can even treat this a little bit as a panel discussion as well, so you can get some great perspective and experience. If you are wondering what to ask, because I don't see any hands up yet, so I'm going to give you a moment to raise your hand, to summon the courage to raise your hand for TNT today. If you have any questions, we have a very special guest with Jen Neitzel today. She's the founder of the Signing Agent Marketing. You probably heard about her office pop-ins. If you have some fear about popping into offices like that, if you have some questions about who you could be popping in on right now, if you're pivoting your business from loan signings to attorneys, do pop-ins still work? We can have those kinds of conversations today. So feel free to raise your hand and ask your questions. Andrea Madison, thank you so much for being our first today. What state are you in, and how can we help?
I'm in the state of Oregon.
All right, hi.
Hi. And I was hoping, Jen, that you could give me some direction or kind of a sample of how to introduce my business to the neighborhood businesses around me. I have a lot of different kind of like CPAs and things like that around me where I actually reside. So it's kind of a mixed kind of use neighborhood. And so if there's like I wanted to kind of do like a handwritten note, like, hey, I'm Andrea, I'm your neighbor, but I want to sound a little more professional than that. So do you have any suggestions?
I do, and I think that's a really great question, and what a unique spot for you to be living, that mixed use where you've got businesses around. And honestly, if you live there, Andrea, I would suggest literally walking in and just putting your hand out and saying, hey, I'm Andrea, I'm a notary, and I'm just right around the corner from you, and just start building the relationship that way. Now, I know it's scary. That's a really scary proposition, right? But you could do flyers and you could do emails, but people are more likely to engage with you if they know who you are, and they kind of have some eyeball to eyeball interaction with you, and they're able to feel you. I mean, just in you talking in this few minutes, without you typing a question in the chat, I've already garnered that, you're someone that's interested in growing your business. You have a kind, friendly face. Your voice is kind. So, I mean, you make those judgments in person, not necessarily over the phone or over email or something like that. So in that situation, I would, I know Laura does this in Modesto. she knows all the shipping center owners. Shoot, one of her best friends is a shipping center owner. And that relationship sprung up over time. But she walks in and lets everybody know who she is. And you can use a pop-in if you want, which is a small little gift. I mean, when I say small, I mean like, something from the dollar store that's not cheesy, at a chocolate bar or just something. And that's kind of helps you have something in your hands to hold. And it gives you an opening line when you walk into an office, which is, I have a gift for you. I mean, who doesn't smile when someone says, I have a present for you, right? I mean, it just instantly creates a smile. So I would maybe try that. Having something to hold in your hands really helps push past the fear a little bit, believe it or not. I never knew
Okay.
what to do with my arms when I was talking and trying to meet people. And like I said, it gives you that opening line, hey, I brought in a gift. I'm Andrea. I live just around the corner. I live in this community and I'm a notary and I would love to know how I can help you grow your business.
Awesome,
Okay.
Jen, thank
Thank
you.
you.
And then we're gonna do triple perspective here. Laura, what suggestions do you have on something like this?
Well, I love where Jen was going with that. And because in my city, my clients are anywhere where I do business, right? So that's where I got the idea of making friends with and offering what I could offer to them. So, it's that idea of how can I help you? What is it you need in your business? You need more clients. That's usually what they need. And I looked for ways to help go down that path. And the way I did it was referrals. And so not everybody was my customer, number one. And so I referred them, for instance, for shipping center, because that was more what they needed. When it's not that, maybe it was a service that I don't offer, but I could be a connecting point to other services that are in that area to kind of connect different businesses that are in the same area. And say, hey, did you know so-and-so? She runs this store over here. That's where I would get that. Would love to connect you. So I think that's the other thing is to look at not just what you have, but are you connected to anybody? So I'm very connected to attorneys and I'm able to, when people talk to me and they say, this is going on, I think I need an attorney. Do you have any ideas or suggestions? And I can offer the right kind of attorney, multiple options, because I've allowed myself, opened myself up to be connected outside of my industry, because I never know when I may know something that helps somebody else. And that's what then makes me memorable. And that's what makes them want to reach out to me later when they do need notary service.
Yeah, awesome. I
Thank
love
you.
that, Laura. You know what I love about that too is it gives you something else to talk about.
Yeah.
When you're walking in the door. So it's not just because a lot of us we feel weird about self-promotion. We don't want to just go in and talk about us. We're looking for something else to talk about. So if you use that approach that Laura says, and you're building your referral list, and you need to understand somebody's business in order to refer business to them. So you can say, hey, and I love your initial response, Andrea, was, oh, I'm your neighbor. I think that's perfect. That's what separates, that differentiates you from all the other notaries who aren't their neighbors, right? So I would capitalize on that and just say, hey, I'm constantly building my referral list. I work in the area. I'd love to sit and chat about your business and learn more about it and how I can support you or how we can support each other. And that might lead to a coffee meeting or something like that. So the key is differentiation. Find what makes you different in a sea of sameness and go with it, magnify it, blow it up.
Cool. Thank you.
Is that helpful, Andrea?
Yeah, it's very helpful. I appreciate that. And I don't see anybody else's hand up,
Yeah, you got some time.
but I have another thing. I mean, it kind of goes along the line with this if nobody else has another hand up.
Yeah,
Okay.
please do.
So I belong to a fraternal organization and they have their own counsel. So they have their own attorney. And so to make a long story short, I saw a commercial on TV and it's called, it's for title lock. And, Newt Gingrich is on there kind of touting it and stuff like that. And I think, in my opinion, that kind of stuff is really dangerous, because they claim that they can protect you against title fraud. And so getting back to why I'm a part of this fraternal organization is important is because there's a lot of elderly folks. And I want to work with, and I've already made the inroads to our council to kind of hold a class or a talk or whatever about this type of stuff on TV, because I probably get a question or two a month about it. How do I protect myself against somebody stealing my home?
Yeah.
And so I thought, maybe I could, hold a talk with a person that actually has a law degree about this stuff. Has any other notary run into those questions of how do I protect myself from my house being stolen?
So I think we can use the chat to address that, Andrea, and then because I know absolutely those questions come up. The legal advice questions come up all the time. And I think what you're touching on here is an amazing idea. In fact, Jen and Laura and myself were just talking about this level of collaboration, because that's what you're talking about. You're going to collaborate with an attorney that would have the legal background and the protections and the how to talk about those things, and also collaborate with the facility or the organization that you're bringing that to. And I think that is something we can definitely talk about, because this is interesting, right? So Jen, I noticed that you unmuted. Would you like to jump in there and talk about that too? Because I think this would be a great topic.
Well, I think I'm smiling just ear to ear, Andrea, because if you don't already know, we're having a Notary Business Builder open house tonight. And this is one of the things we're talking about, is how to partner with other businesses. We have this idea that marketing is just about, like Bill said, just constantly selling ourselves. But to create a space where you can partner with someone about fraud prevention, which is what you're talking about, to the elderly community is so important. And I think sitting down and fleshing through that with an attorney that can help you and exploring that and bringing people into that class, teaching people from your organization about fraud prevention when it comes to title. It's building trust with Andrea, the notary, right? This is someone that we can trust now. There's a ton of elderly people that need a notary all the time. Financial documents, powers of attorney, they're changing wills or adding things to their trusts and estates. And so if you can get in front of this audience and build trust that way, it's an excellent way to really become a part of your community and build on the know, like, and trust factor that's going to set you apart from the person that just comes in and says, I want to be your preferred notary, and that's all they do, right? They don't contribute in any way, shape, or form. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. It was just I've seen the commercial. I've talked to, my clients a little bit about it. Of course, I can't give them counsel. Pretty much what I say is, if anybody's asking for any kind of financial information, hang up the phone, stop talking to them, call the people you know. But I digress. It's disconcerting. It's just really disconcerting. And I just wanted to know if any other notaries were running into it.
I hear it a lot.
Do you?
My mother asked me that question all the time. That's one of her biggest
Well,
fears.
Newt Gingrich, he's so trustworthy. And,
Why do you think they offered him probably millions of dollars to do that? I mean, there's
like
a
Tom
reason.
Selleck selling reverse mortgages,
Bingo. Right. So that helps move the needle on their sales. But it is an important topic, and elder abuse in that way, that fraud abuse happens so much, so frequently. And the fact that you want to partner with an attorney that can address these issues where you're in that gray area where you really can't. But if you have an attorney partner that can lead the discussion, you can bring those people to him or her, right, to the attorney. They can then discuss fraud prevention. And then when they get the request for
Got it.
Thank you.
When they get the request from their customers that were in the class, or the person that you brought to them to learn about this, if they need a mobile notary, of course, they're going to call you first. So it's kind of a win-win for both you and the attorney, and definitely something I encourage you to explore. Absolutely.
You know, what's interesting about that is it's, regardless of topic, Andrea, right? Like I can tell you're passionate about this. You've got an opinion about this. You've done your research on it, but we can take this, we can generalize this a little more too. We all have passions. We all have interest that would be valuable to organizations and other people too. So if you have that calling, if you feel something, if you get triggered by something, follow that stream, because there might be an opportunity there. Laura, did you have anything else that you would offer on this?
I do. And, one of the successes I've had is when I've partnered with the county agencies in my own county. So for senior services, particularly, because they like to hold informational meetings. And so that's been good. Also, I'm on the board for the senior law project in my county. And so I, as a board member, volunteer to help organize different things for them. And like today, after this meeting, they've asked me, Laura, can you go out and take care of a client that we have? So that's going to be a pro bono job. But because I do that for them, it gets me in the door for other agencies, because they're a legal aid agency. And legal is key word, which means there's attorneys that work there and there's that do other things. And they are connected to other attorneys. So looking to see if there's a way for you to partner with a local agency. Sometimes they hold health fairs and they need people to be willing to sit at booths. There's lots of things that you could garner from partnering with your county agencies. So don't pass them up. Also, one other thing is I saw somebody put AARP. AARP does have a program, and I'm sorry, at my fingertips, I don't have the details, but to have speakers, they send speakers out under the AARP label to talk to people about this kind of stuff where they could get scammed. So that would be another thing I'd recommend. So there you go.
Yeah, I was just going to mention even some of the other organizations, some of the other advocacy groups, they actually have training where they'll train members of the community to be a trainer, like a train the trainer program. And you can get all the education you want, take off your notary hat, become an expert at one thing. You can deliver the information, and you happen to be a notary public and still build relationships and build bridges that way as well. Lots of opportunities there. Andrea, great way to kick off the conversation. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate you. Joel, great to see you on. Would you like to unmute? I know you're in Arizona. How can we help today?
Yeah. So I just had a few things on the last topic. If you don't mind, a few comments.
Sure.
So
and hopefully a question.
yeah, for sure. So one, if you call yourself an expert, I've been warned by brokers not to do that because you open yourself up to legal issues. That may or may not be true. I don't know. But the other thing is, like, if somebody steals your house with fraud, I've talked to a high price attorney, real estate attorney, and he said he would get your house back, no problem. Like the burden of proof is on them. So it's a waste of money to like title lock your house, is what he was saying. And then I have a friend who his mother-in-law basically is being conned by a man that she met on a dating site, and that's a huge problem. Which, talk about being triggered, I mean, I have to restrain myself. Like, this is really bad. In my book, I think it's evil. But she's selling her house that's paid off, $800,000 house, to give him the proceeds, and she's going to be dependent on my friend for the rest of her life. And they can't stop her because he's got her conned, and she still has control of the money, and she's not insane. You can't like get a judge to say she's incompetent, but she's she's getting conned. So I have no idea how to stop that, because she's not in the age, like she's like 60s. She's not in the protected age range.
Yeah,
So
that's
I don't know.
Yeah, that's heartbreaking and frustrating for sure. It feels like there's nothing that we can do. I wonder if if anybody has any resources for a situation like that. I encourage you to post it in the chat. Joel, thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah, and I did have a question, if
Yes,
unless
please.
you need to move on.
Yeah.
So the will thing, where was the class about the will and trust?
That is in Laura Biewer Presents, which is available at Notary Coach. If you've already purchased it, or if you're part of NVB, that's in your Notary Coach account. There's links to it in the dashboard. If you haven't purchased it yet, I think it's is it 127 or 197 right now, Laura? I think 127 here. And you can get
It's
that.
127, but use the letters TNT for the discount.
Yes, great, thank you. Discount code TNT.
Thanks.
Yep, you bet, Joel. Thank you. That's at notarycoach.com/LBP. Laura Biewer Presents. Phil Shannon, great to see you.
Well, good to see everybody. Sorry I missed everybody on Saturday. It was my dad's birthday, so I was spending a lot of great time with great family. Yeah, exactly, Debbie. The best thing to do. They're 86, and I don't know how much longer I'll have them, so I'm enjoying every minute I can. But I obviously had to jump in on the conversation that's going on about fraud and all those things, and as also as a trusted advisor. I've been so fortunate to work with many folks here for many, many years, and I have spoken to at ARP. I speak for ARP. I speak for SIRS, which is Sons in Retirement. I speak for SCORE. I've spoken to retirement facilities, Kiwanis, Rotaries, and they aren't sales pitches per se, although people do ask me about what we provide, but they're really just giving them information about how they can protect themselves. Nobody can stop identity theft. Nobody can stop this fraud stuff, but there are things you can do to mitigate the risk. So there are great avenues to get that information. In fact, as most of you know, 5 minutes after this show, I will be doing my weekly after TNT session at 5 after 105, 205, 305, and 405 respectively. And I will talk a lot about that, because identity theft is a huge issue. If you didn't realize, it actually surpassed drug trafficking way back in 2009 as the #1 financial crime in America. It's been the FTC #1 complaint for about 18 years in a row, and there's no end in sight. It's just going to keep happening. So let me show you how you can help with that, and I can help with that. So thanks so much. I appreciate it. And how was Saturday?
The event was pretty amazing. Hundreds of notaries from around the country and great content. Thanks, Phil. All right. I posted the link to Phil's show. You can just scroll to the bottom of the TNT page and the direct link is there. Yes, it was awesome. Cynthia, you must have won something.
I think she did.
So Cynthia wins something every time. I don't know what her secret is, but
She was the first winner.
she was the first winner.
Everything I'm on, she wins.
I know.
She's got that luck. You need to go buy a lottery ticket, Cynthia.
Aim bigger, billions at stake.
Well, I have a little gem to drop today
Yeah.
that I brought along with me. Are you okay if I drop a gem?
Please do, yeah.
I'm stealing Lori Morgan's term here for dropping a gem, but people ask all the time about introductions to title offices, and that right now, you know, pop-ins are a little difficult, because it's not that title companies aren't giving notaries the the business is that they don't have the business to give. They don't have as much business to give. And so when you put all your eggs in that one basket and you're dependent on real estate, you know, it can be a little intimidating, right? So, and it can be a little scary too. But having a warm lead, and what warm leads means is you have somebody that you know in between you and the title company that can introduce you. It's a really great way to sort of elevate that meeting a little bit, that first time meeting. There's that instant know, like, and trust factor. And I think one of the things we've been overlooking are your home warranty representatives. Now I'm looking at Pam Adame because I know she's a real estate agent as well. So I bet she knows lots of home warranty representatives, but you guys know who I'm talking about, right? The people that sell the home warranties. When you buy a house, usually that first year, the seller will provide, $500 or $600 worth of a home warranty that covers things in case the water heater goes out the day you move in, or the garage door doesn't open after you get the clicker, right? Those little things that happen in homes. So these home warranty representatives, you guys, they're in title offices. That's what they do all day long. They are canvassing your town with literature and pamphlets and brochures and gifts and their own version of pop-ins. So if you are able to find your home warranty reps in your town, I definitely suggest getting to know them. Invite them out for a drink or a cup of coffee or something. Get to know them and ask them, hey, who's your favorite title office? Because they're not basing that on volume. They're not basing that on the kinds of loans that go through that title office or anything like that. They're basing it on the people. They're going to refer you to people that they know, like, and trust. That this office is great. They're so friendly. They love meeting new people. And you can use that mutual friend that's the home warranty representative and same with home inspectors too, Justin. You can use that friend of yours as the warm lead to say that you know the home warranty person or home inspector person, and that they were referring your particular office because they thought you guys were just so nice, and you just wanted to come in and introduce yourself and let them know about their services, about your services, and find out how you can help them with their business.
I love that, Jen, because I've never thought of it. So I love new ideas, and that connects some dots for me too, because I think they are in real estate agent offices all the time too. Because when I had a problem with a home warranty on my mom's house in Prescott, I called the agent. The agent called the home warranty rep and said, hey, you take care of this customer. So they have relationships with all of those agents. Because it's this referral network. They refer and make suggestions on it. That's a great idea. I love it.
They canvass all those real estate offices, all those title offices. They hold parties, they sponsor parties, they show up. They will, it's amazing what they're doing out there. So yeah, I encourage you guys to get to know them in your town. And if you don't know where to find them, call your title friends, call your real estate friends, join your Chamber of Commerce, because that's a great start.
Awesome. All right. So Laura, I saw that Maggie had a question. You want me to bring it up in chat?
Yeah, I responded to her that this would be great to be done in chat. But before we do that, maybe we'll give her a chance to figure out how to raise her hand. I wanted to make an announcement.
Yeah.
About this afternoon, Clubhouse Notary Successful Journey. And that is Matt Miller from Clyn, myself, Sue Hope, Notary Assist, LaShawn Jenkins, and gosh darn it, Matt, Katrina Caldwell. So there's 5 of us. And we will be talking about taxes and anything on the periphery of that, because now's the time as we're preparing for it. So I just want to make sure that's 5 o'clock Pacific time. It's on your phone, right? If you're not familiar with Clubhouse itself, and the room's called Notary Successful Journey. So I just wanted to let people know about that.
Awesome. And I just typed that into the chat as well. So you guys can find that. It's going to be a busy afternoon for sure. Now, I'm going to invite Lorraine. We'll get to you real quick. I just want to bring up Maggie because she's having a hard time with the raise hand feature. Maggie, if you'd just like to unmute, we'd love to hear your question.
Hi,
Hey, Maggie.
I'm Maggie from California.
All right. Welcome. Would you like to ask your question?
Yes, I started to do a few estate planning packages, and I saw how great that is. To switch from all the refis and into that. And I've been pretty successful at it with a few of the attorneys that I just happen to have known already, but wanted to know, are there special directories? I mean, do you reach out to the bar association, or how do you find out attorneys that specialize in estate planning?
What a great question. And I love that you are getting into those estate planning or living trust presentations. I agree with you. I love those appointments as well. Laura, I'm going to kick it over to you first. What suggestions do you have?
Yeah, so I realize you've done a couple. I don't know if you were the notary and the attorney did all the work, or if you were the actual presenter, because there is a difference. So the first thing is what's your baseline understanding of, living trusts, and what are the documents, and who are the attorneys, and how do you find them? There is, in Laura Biewer Presents, a 2.5-hour training on that. And so I always recommend, before you start reaching out to expand your wings, make sure you speak the lingo, make sure you understand what's going on in a presentation. If you have
Actually, I do.
Okay, great.
I
Do you have
do.
that background
Just
already?
Actually, through doing my own trust with the
Uh-huh.
attorney, and he happened to have been a friend. So I have a very good
Okay.
understanding of most of the forms.
Beautiful.
So for those who are listening to this question and don't have that background, that's where I always recommend you start, to make sure when you do reach out to attorneys, you're speaking on their level. The other thing is, then you would know that probate attorneys are the ones that are doing trust work. Those are the ones specifically that you're going to want to target. Sometimes they use marketing names like estate planning attorneys, but they're really probate attorneys. And that means they work both sides of the fence. That means not only do they work selling trust to people up front, that's the proactive way, but they also do trust administration on the back end, and they also work probate court. For those who don't have a trust, they just had a will, and everything has to be probated. So that's really the target audience, but not the only one, because people use legal plan type organizations. Legal Shield and Ameristate are two. There's a few others, and the other place is the public themselves, which means you're really looking at SEO for your website, Google My Business, because they don't want to pay $2,000 for a trust, but they want a trust, so they download their own. And that becomes really important, that you understand everything, because they don't know what they're doing. And now they've got these documents on the table and they're like, okay, I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. That's why the most success you'll have is when you can deal with all of the different ways that this work can come to you. So it's not just attorneys, is what I'm saying. You're going to get it from other places, but definitely, since you've already got some relationships with some attorneys that you've started with, can you leverage those? Is there anything you can do to help that attorney so that they might connect you with other probate attorneys in their circle? Because you're already in the orbit. So
Yes.
see if you can leverage that and see if they'd be willing, if you're doing a great job for them, would they be willing to connect you to some others? And then you could expand that circle a little more through your local associations. I belong to the Bar Association. All kinds of attorneys go there. The Chamber, lots of attorneys go there. Again, a lot of different kinds, but your local places where they would hang out. And then as well, I'm in a Facebook group that is specifically for attorneys. So look at social media that targets attorneys. So everywhere where you can be visible, you want to expand on that. But since you happen to be lucky that you have a couple relationships, I'd look at how can I build that? Because that's the warm lead, right? The connection. All right, so I'm
Such great ideas. That is,
Okay.
thank you so much. That's such great ideas. Actually, the last one I did, which was a week ago, I actually sent the assistant, I noticed they were talking, oh, we're getting all our documents emailed through. So I got the email of the assistant and shot her off a thank you, for the referral. And she sent me back that she sent the whole entire office my phone number, which I thought that was amazing, amazing.
Follow up. Yeah,
Yes,
follow up is, that's where the dessert is, right? Because that's what happens. You follow up with just a simple acknowledgement of having a privilege to work with them. And now they're like, hey, okay, let's see, who else can I spread the
well,
good
I always
with?
figured, I always figured that, they have a lot of notaries on staff and, they really would be
Yeah.
looking for that, but she was just
It's
so.
a fallacy.
gracious. Yes,
Myth
yes,
number one.
yes. And
Yeah.
sure enough, she goes, we love the service you offer. And I've sent the email, I forwarded it to everyone, all the associates in the office, which was amazing. And then I thought, okay, well, let me go further. How can I reach other? Thank you so much for all the
Exactly.
information. Very
And I'm
helpful.
gonna let Bill and Jen, if they have anything to add.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. And I think that is really good advice. And I'll just piggyback a little bit. Just remember that when you're looking for clients, they're going to come from two places, right? It's going to be technology or your visibility, and people, your relationships. So you got to figure out where your ideal customers are hanging out, like Laura even mentioned, and then you hang out with them. Go to the client getting events. There are local bar associations. Sometimes they allow non-attorney members to join, and then you get invited to the events. You can sponsor the events. That's a very direct route. There are directories. There's lots of online directories, Super Lawyer, FindLaw.com, those types of things. So you can get in and you can actually sort by specialty on there as well. And then I noticed that, Google, you can absolutely just search as well, search your area that way. But one thing that is really important, if you find, what Laura said is you have a client that you enjoy working with. So now you have a model. You want to duplicate that model. I like working with this person because they have this kind of appointments. They treat me right. They're organized. They pay fair. You want to duplicate that because not all attorneys, not all clients are equal. And you got to be really clear on what you want, because you just don't want to say, I want to work with everybody, because that's not true. And you'll learn that the hard way if you don't get really clear about who you do want to work with. So look at the attributes of your current clients, see what you like about working with them, maybe even identify some things that aren't so great. And maybe you can write that into your ideal customer. And then you know who you're looking for. Then you know where to hang out. Jen, did you have anything that you would add to this?
I don't. I think these are all really great things. And it kind of sounds to me like Maggie is working on the nailing it part versus the scale, as she's leading up to the scaling it part. So I think she's kind of a live example of nail it and scale it, right? And that's what she's working toward here. So, how can I add anything besides that, the two of you, the two greats, right? So I think they wrapped it up. What do you think, Maggie?
They did. Thank you so
All
much.
right.
That's
Thank
great
you, Maggie.
information.
Great question.
Can I take a quick moment to make an announcement?
Yes, please.
So I just wanted to remind you guys, Matt just put this in the chat. I just wanted to remind you, you guys can get a free copy of Bill's best-selling book, The Notary Business Builder Challenge, when you join, renew, or upgrade your current membership to the advocate level at the California League of Independent Notaries, CLIN. Matt, how you doing?
I'm well. How is everyone today? Thanks for announcing that, Jen.
Of course. So join at calnotaries.org and you are sending out free copies of the book. That's incredible.
That's right. Anyone who joins, renews, or upgrades their current membership to the advocate level will receive a free copy of the book. I send it out priority mail, so you get it 3 days after you complete your sign up. And also, as part of your membership, you get an online directory listing, which is proving to be very powerful. We've had many accounts recently where your CLIN directory listing is showing up on the first page of search results. So that's huge. And I know from internal analytics, we're getting hundreds of searches a month. But more importantly, The CLN relies solely on member dues to keep our mission moving forward. And so together we can help make sure that your voices are heard on policy that affects you and your business. So feel free to reach out, matt@calnotaries.org, or sign up now at calnotaries.org.
Matt,
Awesome.
can I just ask you a question?
Sure.
Because we've got people from all over the US, not just California. So they might be thinking, well, this doesn't apply to me. I wouldn't have any value joining this organization. Could you talk a little bit about that, please?
Oh, absolutely. We welcome notaries from all over the country because not only do we work on policy in California, but also policy at the federal level and help notaries in other states get started and point them in the right direction when they are working on policy in their state. So we are a resource for all notaries in all states and welcome notaries from everywhere.
Thank you.
Awesome. And I appreciate you bringing up the book too. Like that's as I hear these questions, I'm reminded that in that book, the Notary Business Building Challenge, it's daily exercises. So if you ever came to a point where you're like, you wake up in the day and you're frustrated or you're feeling like, I just don't know what to do to work on my business today, open up that book and look at it. It's 90 days of challenges, but there's resources about the identifying your ideal customer. There's where to find attorneys. There's optimizing, like tweaking your SEO, all of these little different things that add up, because being an entrepreneur, it sucks sometimes. There's so much to do. We wear so many hats that it's easy to get lost. And most of us scrambled from the very beginning. We just figured, and if you started in the last 3 years or even before that, you hit the ground running. Like the calls were going, you're just throwing websites together, Google business profiles, printing business cards. Well, now there's a little bit of time to start refining, and that book can help you start refining your processes, start boosting your rankings on search engine optimization, and it's there for you. Free copy with a claim membership. Lorraine, thank you so much for your patience. How are you? I know you're in
All
Oregon.
right. I'm good. How are you doing?
Excellent. Thank you. How are
Good,
you today?
good. I know this is kind of a little basic question, but what the heck? I was quite active with a title company. We only have 4 title offices in town here. And one of them I was quite active with prior to COVID, and had a really good relationship with them. They needed me desperately because the title officers couldn't come in at that time, and unfortunately, and I said, yes, I would. And then at the last minute, we had family illness and I couldn't help them out, and they weren't happy with me. So I have reconnected with the title manager, or the escrow manager rather, and we're going to have coffee together in another week. And besides saying, what can I do for you? I'm just trying to think if there's any pearls of wisdom that you could share with me about how I can make that reconnection and just make that a smooth meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome. That's a great question. What were you going to say? She's
oh no, I sent her a New Year's card.
okay.
And
okay.
she sent me a little email, thank you for that. And so I said, oh, let's get together. And then it was like, oh gosh, now what are we going to talk about?
Oh crap, we're getting together.
Yeah.
Jen, what do you say?
Well, hey, Lorraine, it's nice to see you again today.
Thank you, you too.
I think that the best thing to do, and I saw this in the chat, Melissa put this, is just to be honest. And that doesn't mean you have to lead with, you know, I thought you dropped me because I got sick, or there was illness in my family or something like that. I think it's just, you know, yes, I had to take a little break in my business because of illness in the family.
Mm-hmm.
Say it and move on, and just let her know that you're interested in rebuilding that relationship, and what, you know, what can you do, while also acknowledging, you know, I know loans are down a little bit right now.
Right.
I would inquire what she sees, you know, what's business like for you? What do you think is going to happen in this unpredictable, you know, space that we're in right now? Just kind of get her talking and remind her why she wanted to work with you in the first place.
Mhm.
Remind her of that connection that you shared. And once that happens, I think if, you know, it'll all come rushing back and she'll be like, oh my gosh, you know, she was a great notary. We need to use her. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be about how you can get loans from this particular escrow officer.
Mhm.
It can be, if you go in with the mindset of, I am here to reconnect,
Okay.
everything just kind of will fall into place around that. You know, it's just reminding her of your likability
Uh-huh.
and your trustworthiness.
Okay, great. Thank you. That
Laura, do you
takes,
have anything to add?
Yeah, Laura, what do you say?
I love where Jen was going with that, because what I was thinking is be the person who somebody would love to go have coffee with. You know,
Mhm.
just be that person and be interested in her and what's going on. Because you know what? They've got issues. We're not the only ones
Mhm.
not having work. They've had
Right.
layoffs. They're going through transitioning as well. And so I would be most interested in about her struggles and what's going on with them and their industry, rather than you know, concerning myself at all about getting any work, because right now they just don't have the work to give. So that's
Right.
like, why even bother going there? Instead, let's focus on her and what's going on. And is there any way I can support you in this time? And just be a friend, because that will outlast a request, you know, for I'm here and available when you have work.
Right. Okay.
That's all I got.
Thank you so much. Thank you. That takes the edge off.
I would absolutely say ditto. Is I think there's a place for more friendship right now, and I'll share too. You know, over the last week, I've had 2 conversations with 2 of my clients that are in the management role, and it's tough for them right now because they have had to lay off people during the holidays. You know, and they're not some corporate being, right? They're human beings, and it hurts them too. So there's a lot of things they're going through, and they're concerned too. So I think just taking the friend approach and let them kind of guide the conversation. Now, what I will say is that, again, I love that question. How can I support you? But I also love when we have an answer to that question too. Because usually if you've got somebody who knows how to volley a conversation, when you ask, how can I support you? They'll say, well, what about you? How can I support you right now? Have an answer that's not just give me business when you got it, right? Because that could be who knows when, and they're not going to remember because you still got to stay in touch. So maybe have something more clear about how to stay in touch. Maybe it's a coffee meeting every month. Maybe a meeting like this. Maybe it's answering a survey. You have access to a great survey in your Tom app that would allow them to share their perspective. Maybe it's giving a review of your services on LinkedIn or Google Business Profile. There's something along those ways. You get to choose. It's your business. But have an answer. How can they support you right now? Great
Thank you.
questions, conversation. Tony Henry in Georgia, welcome back.
Hello, Bill, Jen, and Laura. Appreciate the weekly TNT classes. Very nice.
Thanks for being-
My question is, if you are going to be having a meeting with a title company to establish a relationship, I heard that they usually give a expectation letter or what they expect from you as a notary. Should a notary have a return letter or what they expect from the title company as well?
I like your
And where would I get that from?
I like your thinking, but I'm curious. Jen, what do you say?
No, I mean, you know, they probably have that because they've been burned in the past. And let's just be honest, Tony, the last couple of years, we had a lot of people that entered our business because they were very transactional and they were just looking for the quick buck, right? So a lot of offices have been burned, which is probably why they have that list of expectations from a notary. No, it's your job to read it, understand it, agree to it. It's not your job to say that you will only work for them if they meet this criteria. You know, I think that's a sure way to make them walk away from the table.
It's a
with you.
losing proposition, right?
It is a losing proposition. I mean, it would be great, right? It would be great if we could put a letter out that says, I need to be paid within 2 weeks. I expect that I don't have to be running all over town to meet your loan officer. I expect to have the docs a week before closing. That would be wonderful. But the thing with the title company is they're sort of the middleman. So there's lots of moving parts. They can't control the loan and the loan officer. Lord knows they can't control the real estate agent. Sorry, Pam and Dame. They try, but they can't. And then they've got us that they have to schedule and control. There's too many moving parts there for you to be able to hand them a list and say, these are the criteria that I need to be met if you want me to close your loans for you.
Okay, so there's not a general letter out there for notaries to use pertaining to that. It's basically whatever the title company is requesting. Is that correct?
Well, it's if they're requesting something that's outrageous, say no. You don't have to accept every job that comes in, right? But
Right.
no, there should not. I hope there's not a standard letter out there that that notaries are sending to clients or potential clients saying, here's the criteria I need to meet. I'm looking at Jen Cooper's face right now. she's shocked, but no, I don't think that is, if someone is telling you to do that, I think that you need to stop listening to that person. I'm just being honest.
No, nobody's telling me to do it. It's just
Okay.
It's just something
Okay.
I thought of because I when I signed up for the SnapDocs and different loan signing services, they list some of the things they ask, what I can do.
Yeah.
And so I was just thinking out the box. Was there something, now targeting a direct connection with a title company? I was just thinking, was there some type of letter I could put together,
Okay.
stating, what I'm looking for. The same like with SnapDocs or whatever is asking us as notaries.
I think that's better left in your head for you to decide what's important to you, like Bill says, to really be able to identify your ideal client, it takes some time, but it's so important so that you are choosing to work with people that you wouldn't even have to think about giving them a list of criteria because the relationship is already there and you have the freedom to communicate back and forth if something goes wrong, right? Bill, do you have additional comment?
I do, because I love this question. And I think I totally agree with Jen, and here's what it sparks for me, Tony, when you ask this is there's a certain reality to our situation. It's the psychology of power. The power in the relationship, as much as we want to say it's with us, and it can be because we're individual, we make our own decisions, but we're not the ones hiring the title company. They are hiring us. So that's why they have those types of letters. SnapDocs is a platform that is granting you permission to be on it. It's not us allowing, SnapDocs isn't begging us for the business, right? Like right now, that's just not the balance of power in the relationship. So right now, it wouldn't serve us to have those types of rules. That could change at some point, and for some notaries, that balance may have changed but for the bulk of us, that's why those companies have it. They're like, if you want us to hire you, here's what you're going to do. So it doesn't necessarily work the other way around yet.
Okay, well, basically, I was more on a level of, maybe I'm being misunderstood. I was more on the level of what my services are to offer to the title company, meeting with
totally
them.
different.
Yeah, that's a different
That's
question.
totally different. So Tony, if you like, you're talking about a sales letter or a brochure.
Or intro letter or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, now this is my wheelhouse, Tony. So, and I will tell you guys, we all know this is not a secret. Business is shifting, things are changing, but I have seen more than one title officer receive a letter from a mobile notary while I'm standing in front of them, and they go directly into the trash. And here's why: because on that letter, you're going to have your professional headshot. You may not really look like that in real life. I know a lot of people that use headshots from like 20 years ago, and they don't necessarily look that way anymore. The title officers know that because they have to get headshots every so often. You're going to be talking all about yourself, that you have this E&O and you have you've closed this many loans and you have this much experience and you're approved with here, there, and the other. they want to know, like, and trust you. And that happens eyeball to eyeball generally. You know, it's not, you will spend more money on the postage and the printing than you will with the return that you get in communication back from them on that letter. And most of the time it's going to go in the trash. If you're okay with sending out 100 letters and maybe hearing from one person, then send them out.
I think it's like 1,000.
It's probably more like
maybe
1,000 to 1, I think, on the letters.
They throw it in the trash.
Yeah, there's no replacement for individual eyeball to eyeball relationships. There just isn't. Believe me, I've tried. And so have a large number of people that I see on this call.
Laura, would
Okay,
you have anything to add?
No, I think you guys covered it, and I see we're running short on time and we got 2 more people.
Oh, we are. Sorry.
Yeah, great question, Tony. Thanks for bringing
That
that
was
up.
a good question.
Even though we took a sideways turn there, it came all the way around, but still great topics.
Thank you. I
love it.
appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I love it. And guys, just a reminder while you're all here at 3 p.m. Pacific time, there is a free training on money-making tactics of collaboration from the pros with Laura, Jen, and myself. You can register for that totally free at notarycoach.com/open house, all one word.
Come hang out with us this afternoon.
Edie, great to see you, fellow Washingtonian.
Hi there. One other thing I just wanted to add to the previous thing is that one thing I think that a lot of people forget is that escrow tends to be thrown under the bus a lot. And even though they're not the ones that are actually to blame. So having that understanding that they have a lot of pressure that they have to meet, and they're having to shop around themselves in order to be able to gain their clients, is keeping all that in mind too, is that they're being thrown under the bus all the time. And the same with us, we're being thrown under the bus too. So just keep that in mind when you're trying to market to these places. But anyway, side note. For me, I actually just recently joined, as Bill is well aware, and I've been hitting the ground running as far as the expectations of what I want to try to do to be able to grow myself. One of the things that actually came to light is when I went to go and do a face-to-face over at an assisted care facility, is they had asked me if I would be interested in teaching a class on senior issues. So definitely like the red flags of, you know, identity theft, wire fraud theft, you know, things along those lines. This is not something I'm afraid to do because I have also taught other notaries coming into the industry. So I'm actually kind of sort of excited, but at the same time too, is that because I am a notary, I can't provide any kind of legal advice. So with that in mind, do you have any kind of suggestions on moving forward with this potential, or collaborating with other industry leaders like attorneys or title offices, or, you know, anything along those lines that would be a little bit more focused and capable of addressing some of those red flag concerns for seniors?
Edie, what a great question. Laura, Edie is one of our newest NBB members, and I think you're perfect to answer this question.
Yeah, I mentioned it earlier on the call, and that is I use my county agencies on what kind of programs they might already have in place that I could partner with them to bring it to a skilled facility. The Ombudsman Office, which are the people who are responsible to advocate for those who are in skilled facilities particularly, would be another place, because ours is run by Catholic Charities. A lot of them are, some are run by a county agency. And of course, I would leverage my own connections with the Senior Law Project, which are the group of attorneys, the legal aid that specifically work with elderly, seniors, compromised people who need some assistance. And I'd look in those areas when it comes to protection issues with the compromised.
Yeah, and the other thing too, Edie, is to remember that you can wear two different hats in these situations. As you're presenting information, you don't have to be the notary public giving
Right.
notary stuff. So you can get trained and you can have a presentation that's more what they call in marketing, like problem aware. So you can talk about what the problem is. Here are the things that you need to be aware of and to watch out for. And that doesn't have to be legal advice. So there's
Right.
always ways to present information that doesn't violate
Mhm.
the integrity of your office in any ways. Because think about when you're a member of an organization, but you're also the CEO of a bank, right? So you're not stepping in there necessarily as the CEO of the bank. I'm stepping in as the Toastmaster or the announcer or whatever, and I happen to be the CEO of a bank or whatever it might be. And a lot of times it can be something like that. You're not stepping up as a notary public. You happen to be a notary who's passionate about helping seniors avoid fraud.
Right, and one of the things, Bill and Edie, to keep in mind is the dividing line. And the dividing line, it's one thing for me to talk about powers of attorney documents in general, what they are, what they do, how they're powerful, why people need one. I cross the line when I say what kind of power of attorney you need and how you need to fill that out. That's where I've crossed the line. But when I talk about it in generalities, meaning it's information they could find anywhere about anybody, that's perfectly fine. And it can be about anything. But when I'm specific to you and I'm telling you, now I'm providing legal advice.
Okay.
There's a lot of room in there for us to present information that might encourage them to go find out more.
Okay. Thank
And
you.
we've got some examples of that, Edie, at the free collaboration training today at 3 p.m. Pacific time, actually at that very topic, because there are opportunities there too for
Right.
referral relationships. Like if you have attorneys who can answer those questions, they might be there in the room with you. You might just have a referral list that you can send those out to. There's all kinds of different things you can do with that.
Yeah.
As much as I would love to be there, unfortunately, I have a signing to go to.
Well, that's good. That is good. Nothing
Recorded,
wrong with business.
recorded.
Yeah, we are recording it. Guys, thank you so much. We are past time. Phil is going to have his call in 3 minutes. Shane, I'm so sorry that we lost you. Feel free to message me or email me directly if I can help you with a question.
Shane's question was really more towards me. So Shane, if you would text me or email me, it was about hospital signings, that would be great.
Beautiful. All right. Thank you so much. Hopefully we'll see you at 3 p.m. Pacific time today. If not, I'll see you same time, same place next week. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.